Great stuff. I was saying, what is happening in the Vaal there? Because it appears as though there might not necessarily be a crisis just as yet, but it's a very serious situation.
Well, look, obviously what is happening in the Vaal is as a result of what is happening nationwide. We are in a situation where we haven't had the early rains. We are experiencing high temperatures. Consumption patterns remain high, and therefore that will have an impact on water availability generally. And that is why even the fact that the Vaal Dam is now at about 50.1% is part of the outcomes of all this. Remember, we're just coming out of the dry winter season, and therefore we would be in a situation where we haven't got enough water in our dams yet in order for us to be able to actually be at the level that we were at about a year ago.
Yeah. On the other side of it, of course, is the issues around the various areas that will be affected. Nationwide, we look at affected, but which specific areas will be affected should the increasing decrease of the dam levels at the Vaal River actually continue?
I'm sorry, I lost you there a bit.
Vaal Dam, if it continues to decrease, which areas can we expect to be affected the most?
Oh, I see. Okay, the Vaal Dam is, by the way, one of the 14 dams that comprise the integrated Vaal River system. And therefore, we must remember that that system contains, at least at the moment, collectively about 61-62% of volume at the moment. So if the system as a whole then goes below 50 towards 40, obviously what it means is that water through Gauteng would be impacted upon. But at the moment, it is just the Vaal Dam that is there. Other dams are still in a very good space. But remember that we also have our reserve dam, which is Sterkfontein, which is normally around the 90% at the moment, which we only use if our integrated Vaal River system goes down and the Vaal Dam itself goes below 25-20%. And therefore, we still have that. And as of last week, I remember it was at about 91% of volume. And therefore, we are still in a situation where we can still be able to call on that like we did in November 2016 into December 2016, when the Vaal Dam was at a very low level.
Yeah. Sputnik, before we let you go, let's talk a little bit about this maintenance of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project tunnel. I mean, we understand that it's about a 2-month shutdown that has actually been planned for it, which then obviously then further exacerbates the issue around water and the availability thereof. How are we going to be affected with that?
Well, look, this is a planned outage for 2 months, beginning the 1st of October until the 30th of November. And in order for us to be able to get to that, is because there is a need for us to do operations and maintenance on the tunnel itself. The work on the tunnel is progressing very well, both on the Lesotho side as well as on the South African side. We are in a situation where we believe we'll still be in time in terms of coming back online on the Lesotho Highlands Water Project. But also, even before we actually closed off the tunnel at the end of September, we had already taken the precautionary measures that the volume of water that we would have expected over the 2 months would already be in the system, so that we did not have to impact negatively on the system as such.
We're going to leave it there for this afternoon. The spokesperson of Water and Sanitation, Sputnik Ratau, they're giving us the latest when it comes to water, as well as the dam levels, really, at the Vaal Dam.